Let's dissect the three-point shooting from the best three-point shooting team in the NBA. I'm recording this heading into the game against Boston, where the Cleveland Cavaliers remain atop the NBA in three-point shooting, at least in terms of percentage. They're currently shooting 40.2% as a team, and they're the only team in the entire league that's over 40%. And this is without Max Strus, widely known as their most dynamic three-point shooting role player, who's yet to make his season debut. And if you haven't been watching the Cavs this year, you might be thinking that you already can picture what this looks like. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, high pick and roll, a couple of shooters camped out in the corners, and they're just getting these high percentage looks from three. And as Cavs fans, we get it. We've seen that movie before. I can understand why you might think that. In fact, recent NBA discourse tells you that that's what everyone is doing. But this is not your JB Bickerstaff Cavs offense. This is a Kenny Atkinson offense, and this is completely different. In fact, through the first 20 games of the season, I thought I noticed that the Cavs really weren't getting a lot of shots from the corner. And I thought that that was just my eye test deceiving me. There's no way that the data would align to that, right? Wrong. Not only do they not get a ton of their threes from the corners, they don't actually shoot it that well from there, at least from one in particular. Like, subscribe, and let's nerd out. For starters, if we look at the Cavs' three-point shooting as a team on the whole for the season, if you, like me, felt like they weren't getting a ton from the corners, your eyes have not been deceiving you. They've shot less corner threes combined than they've shot from either of the wings above the break. And weirdly enough, they're actually slightly below league average from the right corner based on percentages. And it's significantly lower than, well, pretty much everywhere else. And I thought that was super surprising. So I wanted to try to figure out why. And my first thought was, well, who's shooting from that corner? Maybe there's just like one guy that's dragging the whole team's percentage down because they can't hit. And that would be incorrect. Nearly everyone in the main rotation struggles shooting from that corner. Let's break it down. Because you normally think of role players standing in the corners, let's go ahead and start with Ty Jerome, the ultimate role player who's been shooting out of his mind from everywhere. Over 52% from three on the season, except for that corner. Look at this, 80% from the left corner, 25% from the right. How about Isaac Okoro? He seemingly spent all last year just standing in the corner unguarded by himself. 13 attempts from each corner. Over 50% from the left side, 23% from the right. Okay, we might need a ringer. Sam Merrill, he is a laser from three. There's no way that he's going to struggle from that particular corner, right? Wrong. In fact, he's not shooting that well from either corner. Dean Wade? He's been out for a little while, but he's a solid three-point shooter, a reliable guy when he plays. But apparently, not from the corners. Okay. How about Evan Mobley? He's picked up his three-point shooting a little bit this year, and that must be because he's getting good looks from the corner. Of course not. Just 3 of 10 overall, and most of those misses are coming from that cursed right corner. Even Darius Garland, who is shooting an incredible 44% on 7 threes attempted per game, is doing all of his damage above the break. He's just league average from the left corner and not even 36% from the right corner. In fact, there are only 3 guys in this main rotation that haven't seemed to be just covered in whatever ugly right corner bad voodoo fairy dust that seems to be plaguing them from that spot. George Niang, who's been fine from the right corner, but pretty bad from the other one. Karis LeVert, who's shooting a ridiculous 47% from three this year. And Donovan Mitchell, who's the only guy on this team whose shot profile actually makes sense. And that's because he has a hot spot on the left wing, and then he's league average from the other 2 spots above the break, and he's capitalizing on his few corner attempts that he gets. That's what you expect from a guy like him who's shooting a high percentage at 39% on volume, 9 threes per game. So while I cannot even fathom a guess as to why the Cavs cannot shoot from the right corner, I would definitely say that after seeing this, maybe they should just be looking left when they're looking to kick out to the corner. Just left, just always NASCAR, always going left. Aside from that, there are two things that stand out to me when I look at this overall. One is it might explain why they're only 12th in the league in attempts at 37.7 a game. They aren't creating and converting on those high percentage, easy 3-point shots from the corner. That is the narrative that the league suggests everyone is doing, and what analytics say is the best shot for you to try to get, right? They're relying on ridiculously hot shooting above the break, which is why number two, I'm concerned that this is just not sustainable. When you've got guys like Darius Garland shooting nearly 50% from the left wing above the break, Ty Jerome 60% from the top of the key and almost 70% from the left wing. Even Isaac Okoro is over 60% from the right wing, and Karis LeVert's at almost 50% from the top of the key. Like, you can't expect that kind of shooting to be continued throughout an 82-game season. And I think you're already starting to see some of that in these losses to the Hawks, where the Cavs have shot a combined 30% from three-point range. So what do the Cavs do about it? I think it's clear they need to continue playing with pace, off of makes, off of misses, get the ball up the floor quickly to try to catch the defense in a cross match to take advantage of, and keep moving the ball. Move it quickly, keep the defense chasing, and that's going to help make sure that the threes that they are getting are as wide open as possible. You don't want to let the offense get stagnant and rely on hero ball off the dribble pull-up threes from above the break. You're going to die by that sword eventually. This team is top 6 in the league on catch and shoot threes. That's where they should want to try to rely moving forward, because those are more sustainable over the long haul. Getting Karis LeVert back should help this. He's shooting nearly 42% on catch and shoot threes this year. They need to get Dean Wade back as well. He may not be shooting the lights out himself, but he is a huge contributor to their defense, which then in turn helps get better looks on the offensive end. And of course, Max Strus. That dude in this offense should be absolutely electric. He may actually only be a 35-36% shooter from three, but he gets them up at like 7 a game, and he's not played for the Cavs in this movement style offense. The amount of gravity he's going to bring and the amount of wide open looks he's going to get should be absolutely dynamic. So all that in combination should be the right balance and alchemy, so they continue to get good looks from three even when the unsustainable percentages start to come back down to earth. My question for you in the comments is, why on earth can most of the Cavs just not shoot from the right corner of the floor?